Let's make it a good day.
Coming up today, Stupid Pet Tricks are back. Ricky Martin is going behind the music again, and Will Smith is giving us all the feels. And it's all in the hot dish. Then, Thrifty Traveler is back and in studio. He's answering all of your travel questions during this Nutter Butter time. And life is like a box of chocolates.
You never know what you're going to get.
The many, many secrets of Forrest Gump. Here we go.
Let's make it a good day. We do it our own way. Let's make it a good day. Oh, no matter what they say. Oh, yeah, yeah.
Good morning, Nisswa. Good morning, Walker. Good morning, Minnesota City. And good morning to you. Welcome to the Jason Show. I'm Jace. Please say hello to my sidekick sister from another mister and AutoZone's Employee of the Month, Kendall Mark, everyone.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I need to get new tires, if you can help me with that.
Oh yeah, I'll get right on it.
How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm fine.
Yeah, you're a little
bitter.
upset again.
A little bitter.
A little bitter again because of Olympic spoilers.
I'm telling you, I know it's really hard, but I really try because I like to watch it live.
I know, but it is. I mean, we heard there's some good news, like really good news. So if you want to know nothing, Lord knows I don't want to ruin anyone's day. So turn the TV down just a second. Because we should say, I almost said radio, I'm going the other job. Turn it down just a second, okay? Okay. Kendall, tell everyone the good news.
Suni Lee won the gold medal at all around.
Suni Lee, that's right. Gold. Gold, I tell ya.
Cool. So cool. If you don't know and you live under a rock, she's from St. Paul. So they had a big watch party in Oakdale with her family, and it's really awesome for the Hmong community too. So just really
all
cool
around. It's all around fantastic.
All around, all around.
The video of her family and friends reacting, it gives you the feels. Alexis on the radio show, speaking of the show, cried like she couldn't hold. It was really sweet. It was great. Congratulations. We need some good news, and I hope they throw a little parade or something in St. Paul.
I want to go if they do.
Yeah. I have like a 1 degree of separation from her. So assistant Q.
Yep.
His sister was on her team. I think they did gymnastics or something together.
Oh.
So I have 1 degree of Suni Lee. That's right. So I feel I'm close to an Olympic gold medalist.
Basically best friends.
Suni Lee and I, we're basically besties.
Yeah.
I mean, we're basically, yeah. What? And thank you, I did. Now we're even going to be closer when we finally meet because I did rhythmic gymnastics yesterday. When I say I did rhythmic gymnastics, I mean I watched professionals do it, and I put a ribbon in the air. You'll see that next week. Let's talk to some gold medal audience members today. Please join me in saying hello to Marnie, Gina, and Becky. Good morning, ladies.
Hello. Morning.
Gina, I'm going to start with you. Where are you zooming in from this morning?
Zooming in from St. Paul.
Home of Suni Lee. That's right. Good to see you. Good to see you, Gina. We're going to talk to you a little bit later. Marnie, where are you zooming in from, Marnie?
I am zooming in from Bram, Minnesota.
Oh, Bram. I think you're our first Bram audience member. Yes. Yes. Well, I wish we had a prize like a T-shirt or something. But oh wait, you're going to get a mug anyway. You're getting a mug.
Oh,
that's
yay.
right. Yeah. Becky, where are you from, my friend?
Brooklyn Park.
Brooklyn Park, right down the road from me. I'm in downtown Minneapolis, right down the road. So all 3 of these lovely ladies will receive our new Jason Show mug valued at $87. 87. That's right. They're very expensive mugs. There are. Ladies, we'll talk to you a little bit later, but right now, press the button, Leo. Let's get started with the hot dish. Here we go. I tried to do it rhythmically. Scary news out of Hollywood. After Bob Odenkirk suffered a heart attack while on the set for a show, Better Call Saul, Bob reportedly collapsed and was taken to the hospital in Albuquerque. His family released a statement yesterday saying, thank goodness that he's in stable condition. Bob is the star of the show, which was a spinoff of Breaking Bad. If you don't know, Bob got his start in TV when he was a cast member and a writer on SNL for 4 seasons in the late 80s. I was saying we can't agree on anything as a society, as a planet. The one thing that we can agree on, and I saw this on Twitter yesterday, was universal love for Bob Odenkirk. Everybody, he's so not just inside the Hollywood environment, beloved in and outside of entertainment. Everybody loves Bob. He's yeah.
I think whenever something like that happens too, and it's someone that's very famous and in a very famous setting, like on the set of a show, you kind of go, oh wow, wow. And you look at people you love, and you're like, I just kind of hold them close. I don't know. So
I love him. He is, and he's so multi-talented, and because we now think of him as Saul, and we only think of him from Breaking Bad and Saul, it's hard to imagine that he had a whole life, he had a whole huge career, and he was part of a great generation of comedians in the 80s and going into the 90s, and was a great writer on SNL. And people are like, what? Saul was a writer on SNL? Yes, he was. So Bob, we wish you the best. His son tweeted yesterday that his dad is going to make it through. So when you hear that from the family, you got to smile with that one. Next in the dish, there's a new Hollywood faux-mance to talk about. Selling Sunset's Chrishell and her boss, Jason, are now a couple. The two made it Instagram official, and you know what that means. It's official. It's official. They did this yesterday while they were vacationing with their castmates in Italy. Chrishell was recently married to Justin Hartley, Mr. What's that show?
This Is Us.
This Is Us. But the two got divorced last year, so then it just became just one person. It's leading to a lot of people to believe it's a sham and just a move to promote their next season. Nothing says this is a real romance like a couple staged necking photos. Look at that.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've ever said the word necking on the show before. When was the last time? What?
It's very descriptive.
Well, that is. I mean, it looks like one of those fish, the plecostomus that you get in aquariums.
What?
It removes. It's called a plecostomus, and it removes. And I got to get that checked after work too. But it's a fish that removes algae off. That has a little sucker like a leech, and you can get them in your aquarium, and it removes the algae off your aquarium.
How do you know this?
Well, I worked in my very first job was at a pet store, Past Pets, and I owned mini aquariums.
Huh.
All freshwater.
What's it called?
A plecostomus. And by the way, get yours checked after the show. It's
Okay.
looking a little inflamed.
Yeah, my plecostomus.
Your
is bothering me.
plecostomus is inflamed. I think I'm pronouncing that right. I'm sure somebody will correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's what it's called. You pronounced the suckerfish wrong. But no, I think that's what it is.
Okay.
They're valuable in the ecosystem of your aquarium. They get rid of that nasty algae. Anyway, you're upset about this. These people have nothing to do with my life. You have a strong opinion about this.
Okay. I think it's a fomance. I like her, so I'm a little disappointed in the whole situation. Because she was dating this other guy for a while after she got the big divorce happened. She was dating this other guy forever, and then they broke up, and now she's necking with someone else, which is fine. Move on with your life. But not if it's somebody who's your boss, who clearly you don't actually love, and it's just making me sad.
Next in the dish, one of David Letterman's iconic late-night bits is getting its own TV show. Look at this.
What will you and Dudley do for us tonight here on the Tricks?
Well, Dudley's a retriever, and he's going to retrieve a tennis ball.
Good.
And he's going to hand it back to me in a unique way.
In a unique way. All right, anything we can do? Music, any sort of props, anything you need?
No, I will have to take him off leash.
Okay, take him off the leash, so get ready to run for your lives. Oh, there's Dudley. What a doggy. You have your own tennis ball?
I have my own tennis ball.
All right. Thought you were just happy to see me.
You want this ball? You want the ball? Okay. All right. Come here.
Here we go.
Come here. Give me the ball. Lay down. Give me the ball. Lay down. Give me the ball.
What a
Give me the ball.
nice dog.
Give me the ball.
Oh my! I love Dave. I haven't seen this one.
Wow.
Oh, it's great. TBS has picked up Stupid Pet Tricks for a 10-episode series, hosted not by Dave, but by Sarah Silverman. Letterman will serve as one of the executive producers on the project. I said, look, There are a lot of dumber ideas that have been made into TV shows. You know what I mean? Little concepts that they stretch into a half hour.
Yeah.
Think about TikTok. Think about what everybody loves. Oh, look at the dolphin attacking the, you know what I mean? Everyone loves, not dolphins attacking kids, but I mean, you know, everyone loves everyone loves pet videos on TikTok, on Instagram. That's what half of it is. Alexis, my radio co-host, spent about 4 hours watching horse dancing last night, and I'm not joking. You know,
equestrian?
they prance to like Madonna or whatever. But anyway, my point being,
This is a thing?
it's a thing. Horse dancing is a thing.
Okay.
What is it? Dressage.
Dressage?
That's what Ted just said in my ear.
Sounds
I don't know if I'm
fancy.
cussing in a foreign language, but he just said dressage.
I think it's French.
I think it is. But anyway, horse dancing. Point, I think this is going to be a hit. And I think Sarah's perfect. She knows the Letterman ecosystem.
Yep.
I think she'll be a good host. Do you like this?
I love it. I think I should nominate my Harvietta June. I throw a blanket on her and she runs around in circles until she can get out. And then she wags her tail because she gets really excited. My dog's brilliant.
We're going to take a break. We'll be back right after these words. Back in a moment. Coming up next, just when you thought he wasn't busy enough, our buddy Dax Holt has some exciting news. He'll share it with us in just a little bit. Then from restrictions to rebooking, Thrifty Traveler returns to our studio to answer all of your vacation and flying questions. And stupid is as stupid does, the incredible behind-the-scenes drama and story surrounding Forrest Gump. That and more when we come back.
What's going on? Everybody okay?
They got a call, said there was trouble in the house.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You all need to look around?
It's a little wet for practice, don't you think? Don't the girls have schoolwork to do?
They do their homework. Tundi's first in her class. Lynn and Isha are too.
Now, I don't even mind you saying we hard on these kids. You know why? Because we are. That's our job, to keep them off these streets. You want to check on the kids? Let's check on the kids. We got future doctors and lawyers, plus a couple tennis stars in this house.
The chances of achieving the kind of success that you're talking about is just very, very unlikely.
Okay, you're making a mistake, but I'm going to let you make it. Watch them hit a few balls. All right. So tell me your names again.
I'm Venus. I'm Serena.
So what'd you think?
I think this is going to be a hit, is what I think. Welcome back. It's a clip from the trailer from King Richard. Will Smith takes on the role of Richard Williams, the father of Venus and Serena Williams. It comes to theaters in November. I watched the whole trailer this morning in a commercial break from the radio show and cried a little bit. I mean, just a little tear. It's a great story. I mean, think perseverance is a good word for him. Think about the determination of helping to form these two ladies who really did change the sport and cliche change the world and how they view black female athletes. It's amazing. It's amazing. Cool. Our hot dish continues now with our Insider to the Stars. Please welcome back to the show from the Hollywood Raw podcast, Dax Holt. Hello, Dax.
Hello. How are you?
Dax, you know, when we talk with you, I only have so much time in the introduction, and your intro's getting longer and longer. It's podcast host, Shark Tank champion, Mark Cuban partner, Disneyland fan, Mr. Anaheim, and now I need to add a new title to you because you had some big news this week. Tell us about it.
Yeah, I'm hosting a new show. It's called Pod Sauce. So Odyssey, the big media corporation that has like 270 radio stations around the country, a couple podcast networks, they hired me to host a new show for them, and it's called Pod Sauce, and it's a podcast discovery show. And so basically, you know, there's like 3 million different podcasts out there, 50 million episodes. People are like, I don't know what to listen to, so give us some recommendations. So that is the whole concept behind this show, is we bring some of the top rated shows out there. We will give our suggestions on things that we're listening to. as well as have on hosts of other shows to talk about their podcasts. And it has become so fun, and just like Alicia, who hosts with me, we just laugh through the whole thing. We have such a great time. But like, I have been introduced because of this show to amazing podcasts. And if you would like a recommendation, I have one for you, because it's two women out of Minnesota, and we just interviewed them recently, but I thought you might really enjoy this podcast. It's called It's Always the Husband, and it is a true crime podcast, but it is done in a completely different way. It's all humor. It's basically what people are thinking about it, but don't ever say. And I know your humor, Jason. I think you would really enjoy it. And you know, it's supporting two of your local women out there.
Absolutely, and that's a perfect title, because you know, my mother-in-law and my mother are both obsessed with investigation discovery. My mother-in-law is obsessed with Dateline NBC, and it is always the husband. It's always like, oh, Tracy's gone in the woods. Well, we better call Bill. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's always the husband.
And they are so funny. I promise you, just take a listen to one episode and you will be hooked. They're the greatest.
Hey Dax, how now do you, in each episode, do you focus on a certain genre of podcast? Like, you know, one episode's about truth, or is it just is it a mix every episode?
It's a mix every episode. We could have on a serious podcast, like we've had on the host of the Piketon Massacre. Then you switch over, and we had on a couple of the guys from Trap Nerds, which is all about comic books and anime. And so it's like we're trying to really get in there and you know, show people podcasts that they've never heard about, or maybe they wouldn't have discovered on their own, but are great podcasts. And I'm telling you, we have had some great recommendations, and that's the thing. Alicia and I will bring ours to the table, that we're like, hey, we found this one. You know, I listened to all 26 episodes of it. It's phenomenal. Check this one out. So, you know.
How do people find Pod Sauce?
So you could go to podsauce.com. You can also find it on any of wherever you listen to podcasts, and then also on the Odyssey app.
Perfect. You also interviewed on your other job. You interviewed Too Short. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so we had Too Short on Hollywood Raw. He was awesome. So I think this was the first rapper that we had on the podcast. I mean, we've had other people that have rapped, but not like a legit West Coast rapper. And the funny thing is, he did the interview in the car the whole way to the studio. So he was driving the whole time, just chit-chatting with us. But I think one of the best questions that was brought up during this interview was, you know, what is the best part about being a rapper, and what is the worst part? And he said, you know, the best part is obviously the things you always hear about: the money, the extravagant lifestyle, the parties, the girls, all of that. He goes, but the worst part is the misconceptions about being a rapper. He's like, so when I want to go date a girl and I meet her family, the family's all worried about all the things that I sing about in my songs. He goes, that's just what I sing about. That doesn't mean that is actually me.
Yeah.
So he says that stuff really affects like his personal life, because everyone just believes whatever I rap about is exactly who I am, and that's not the case.
I love that. I love it. Did they tell you, Dax, the reason we're taking a little extra glee with this is we had a virtual audience member last week who zoomed in while her daughter she joined us from her car.
That's awesome. And she was just chatting away with you guys?
Chatting away while her daughter's driving. It was like, okay, well, there we go.
I know. It's like, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but all right, we're doing this.
Okay. Congratulations, Dax. It's a great idea, because I just made the joke a couple days ago that we're in an era now where everybody has a podcast. There's 8 million, everyone does. So I'm glad that you're kind of filtering them out and showing us the good ones. Good idea.
Well, thank you. Not my idea, but I'm glad to be hosting it, and it is so fun. And I'm telling you, people are already responding really well to it.
Perfect. Thank you, Dax. You can find the Hollywood Raw podcast. Okay, what is happening with the sound in here? You can find the Hollywood Raw podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Is this studio haunted? What's happening? Are we good? Everyone's good?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
I handled it. It's fine.
Yeah, thank you for handling it.
Yep.
What happened?
I don't know, but I handled it.
I was hearing voices, and I thought I was going Nutter Butters.
It's the new podcast. It's about hearing voices.
Dax's podcast was coming through the thing?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, it's Oh, it's executive producer Jeff's phone.
It was. Actually, that's exactly
That's
what it was.
connected to a
it.
speaker here in the studio.
Yeah.
Jeff walked out, and soon we're listening to his voicemail messages. We should have just left it playing.
I wasn't going to say it.
I just said it.
He said it.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk to our audience. Gina has a question for us. Gina wants to know our favorite post-COVID bar or restaurant. Ladies first, as always, Kendall.
Did you say new? Does it have to be new?
No, your favorite, like now that, that you like to go, when you feel safe. I mean, I feel weird saying this now with the Delta variant, but
Well, okay, so my husband and I just had our anniversary and we went over to St. Paul. We don't get to do that very often. And we went to W.A. Frost and had dinner on the patio, but we love going to, oh my gosh, I can't think of it, Moscow on the Hill.
Yeah.
Over there. It's just across the street. So we'll get like a fun cocktail and an appetizer there and then head over to W.A. Frost. That's a fun, like a good date night.
Yeah, my go-to, Gina, it always is, always will be. I've said it 1,000 times, but I'm actually going there tonight with Assistant Q, is Bar La Grassa. I've never had a bad meal there. The BLG and the North Loop. That's fantastic. So two recommendations for you, Gina.
Cool.
Thank you, sweetie. Next on the dish, Ricky Martin is talking about his life in a new episode. They're bringing this back. VH1's Behind the Music. Look at this.
On March 29th, 2010, after years of soul searching, Ricky posted a heartfelt statement on his website announcing to the world that he is gay.
I took a minute and I started reading. And then, okay, I'm ready. And then I pressed send. Oh my God, it felt amazing. I wish I could come out again.
The episode is airing right now on Paramount Plus. It's hard now in this day and age. Well, I mean, I was just talking about someone coming out of the closet this week. It's hard to imagine now because it happens with more regularity, thank goodness. But back then, oh, no. It didn't. Right. It was post Will and Grace, but, there's still not a level of acceptance. I mean, I could show you my emails. But it was very important for Ricky for a variety of reasons because he's in music. He's part of the Latino community. It was a good beacon for folks in the Latino community who were struggling to live their truth. It was a big, big deal. And, look, I'm not going to sit here and lie and go, the whole time my friends and I were like, girl, he's gay. Like we kind of, I mean, I'm just being real honest. We were like, come on, we know Ricky.
Right.
But I did not like, Barbara Walters, bless her heart, I hope she's fine. But Barbara Walters got a lot of flack for the way she handled an interview with him before he was ready to come out of the closet.
Yes.
Her questions were rather inappropriate, the way she phrased them. Right. I don't like to criticize in that way, but nowadays, if you look back, have you seen it? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I have, and it was like, she wanted the story.
Yeah.
Instead of caring in that moment,
about the person.
Instead of caring about him.
Yeah. Well, next in the dish, I don't want to speak for Kendall, but this is one of our favorite stories of the day. Adam Driver broke the internet last night because he appeared in a new Burberry ad and transformed himself. Literally, all for a new cologne. Look at this.
I quench that thirst. I can teach you say alone. One who resonates that chase mouth open like higher than the mouth I dreaming of is flying like a stream of thoughts on the west
Burberry hero.
By the way, we're working on our version. Photographer Eric is going to transform me into a porpoise.
And I'm going to turn into an eagle.
You go into the ocean?
Yeah.
You start swimming, and I'm going to
fly down to you.
I'm going to magically turn into a porpoise. Yes, and you can fish with me. You can swoop down and fish, and then I'll be the porpoise in the water.
Yeah, it'll be beautiful.
If I looked like Adam Driver, I wouldn't want to transform into any creature. I would just be Adam Driver.
I don't get the hype.
You don't?
No, I like him, but like girls are like, ah!
Yeah,
I'm like,
there's some. You know what it is? We got to go. Unconventionally attractive is what Adam Driver is.
Ding ding ding.
That's
we
why
have a winner.
There's something,
Something hot.
there's something like he's naughty. Unconventionally attractive / naughty.
Yes.
Yes. Just saying. Just being real.
And a centaur.
That's right. He's not naughty. He's very nice. Thrifty Traveler is back with us in studio, our first in-studio guest in 16 months. That's right. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back, friends. Look who's here. Oh, my goodness. It has been months and months and months and months and months since we've had a studio guest, but the streak ends today. Please welcome back to our show and set, the Thrifty Traveler.
Thank you for having me back,
Jared.
It has been way too long.
I couldn't think of a better person to sit in that chair as our first return guest.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, welcome back, my friend.
Thank you.
Okay, I don't need cards for this because we're just going to talk. You just got back from Italy.
Yeah.
So what is, generally speaking, what is international travel like right now?
It is a bit odd. I will say, in Italy, mostly it was just Italian tourists. Like, we didn't see very many Americans at all. So it was kind of like traveling in this weird kind of realm. I mean, it's still Italy. It's amazing. The food, drinks, everything is the same. But it's a little quieter, which is okay.
What are we looking at here, my friend?
That's Venice.
Oh,
yeah.
That looks fake. Jared, I mean, it looks like this is such a silly, it looks like a postcard.
Yeah, Venice is very easy to photograph. It is beautiful. What you don't see is it was almost 90 degrees and I was just a sweaty mess.
But hey. You point the camera that way and no one notices. Now that you've done it, what are some big takeaways for the audience now that you've done overseas travel? What did you learn, even as the Thrifty Traveler?
Yeah, international travel is complicated with testing, entry requirements, and also the thing that people forget, no matter where you go in the world, to come back to the U.S., you have to be tested 72 hours before you return. So it is complicated.
I just did Hawaii, and I texted you, Jared helped me out because even Hawaii is complicated, and that's part of the United States.
Yes.
With the testing, well, now you just have to show a vaccination card. But back then it was a 72-hour test.
And everybody wants to go to Hawaii, and thankfully, like you just highlighted, it is easier to go to almost every single U.S. state, including Hawaii, if you are vaccinated, of course.
It's a little bit easier. Okay, let's talk some aviation news. Let's talk Delta, with the Delta variant effect. Generally, what are you seeing? I mean, it's changing. Literally, there's probably something happening right now that we don't know about. What are you seeing?
Yeah, we're kind of at this interim period where it's like, what is going to happen in the next month or two? Like a lot of Europe, it sounds like cases are peaking and starting to go down. So Europe hopefully will be okay. Here in the U.S., it's not sure. But with airlines specifically, not too much has changed.
Okay.
One thing with Delta Airlines, which I know you and I fly a lot, as well as people in the audience, is now all fares are cancelable for a voucher again. So those basic economy fares, main cabin, every other fare is now cancelable for a voucher. And that's not really due to the Delta variant. It's due to Delta let so many of their phone reps go. It was taking 6 to 9 hours to get through to talk to Delta. So they just made it much easier. And they're like, if you want to cancel for a voucher, we're just going to let all fares cancel.
And is it just me? I have some trips, quick weekend trips planned in the fall. And I'm getting a lot of emails with subtle schedule changes.
Yes.
This hasn't happened with this regularity. What's going on?
Yeah, no matter what airline you're flying, their schedules are changing so much. There's just changes with demand, no matter if it's a domestic flight or an international flight. So yes, you should expect at least a few schedule changes. It might be, 20 minutes. It might be a couple hours. If things change too much, you might have to cancel. And that's just kind of the way travel is, and something you just need to kind of accept and try to be flexible.
Let's do some good news here. Speaking, and I learned it from you guys, my newsletter or my alert, Delta announced, I think I got the email yesterday, that your status will remain for another year. Am I right on that?
Yeah, so they extended it last year into this year, and then they're letting those, essentially your status roll into 2022. So the bad part is there's going to be a lot of people with Delta status, but still that's a great opportunity for people who are flying Delta to maybe for the first time get status this year, and then they'll have it all the way through early 2023, which is kind of crazy.
Jared, what is for us, the consumer, the advantages are obvious. What do you think Delta's strategy? Is this just a goodwill? Is this a PR move? Because again, it's making me happy and I'm really loving them. Is that what they want? Is they want a lot of, what is the advantage for them?
Well, they don't have as many business travelers as they had before. So there's not as many people that really care about status. But if they can get all these leisure travelers, they're traveling domestically and now are starting to travel, internationally, if they can get them, to be loyal to Delta going forward, and they've made a lot of PR moves, on behalf of the consumers trying to get more loyalty. It's all about loyalty, because that's where the money's at.
Absolutely. Jared is answering your travel questions when we come back. Back in a moment. Yeah, I got that email yesterday. I was like, welcome back. Couldn't think of a better guest to kick off the return of studio guest, Jared from Thrifty Traveler. He's answering your questions on our Facebook page. We posted these questions a little bit earlier this morning. Let's start off with Samantha. Hello, Samantha. She writes, Delta changed my flight in September and it doesn't work with my schedule. Generally speaking, what are my options?
So probably the easiest option is just to log into your SkyMiles account or pull up that flight and just cancel it for a voucher, and you have over a year to rebook it, and you can just decide what will work for your schedule. It's just going to be so much easier.
It's going to be, and that is one of the best conveniences. It's one of the best things that they've done, and I hope
I've canceled 20 flights.
I've changed. I pressed that button. I'm like, bloop, I'm changing it.
Don't want to do that anymore.
No. Lisa writes, hi Lisa. When Canada opens up to visitors, is it best to drive there or fly?
Yeah, so that's like one of the wild things. That Canada technically isn't open yet.
No.
And it hopefully will be open in the next couple weeks. So whether you want to drive or fly, it's really going to depend on where you want to go. If you want to go to Thunder Bay or Winnipeg, maybe drive. If you want to go to Vancouver, it's a long drive.
Yeah.
So flying might make more sense.
My sister-in-law just did Niagara Falls, and she could only go to the U.S. side of Niagara Falls. And hello, can't go over there. Randy's next. Hi, Randy. I want to book a flight to Europe, but what happens if I test positive for COVID before my flight home?
This is one of the most anxiety-inducing things that happens, because my wife and I, we were in Milan last week, and we're getting rapid tested, and we're like, is it going to be, hopefully that it's going to be negative, and because otherwise you have to quarantine for 14 days.
Is it 14 still?
It is,
oh,
yes. So,
okay, so Hawaii was 10. Yeah.
Yes, it's pretty terrifying. So, you can buy types of insurance, but otherwise, you're going to be stuck in a hotel. So, one of the biggest things you can do is get vaccinated, because that is going to just reduce the possibility that you're going to get infected.
Absolutely. Jordan, hi Jordan, has this question. I just earned a 100,000 point bonus on a new credit card. What is the best way to use those points? Boy, you have asked the right person. Yeah.
Absolutely. And now that the pandemic is winding down, all the banks are offering huge bonuses again, which is amazing. So I believe that the discussion was about the Chase Sapphire Preferred card, which has this crazy bonus right now. So the best thing that you can do with those points is book a cheap flight. So instead of booking that $100 flight to maybe Miami, book it through the Chase portal. Use your points. Save your cash, and because the flight's so cheap, you'll use less points as well.
I always say this when Jared's here, but I just got back from a trip. With the exception, we went to Orlando to Hawaii, with the exception of one flight, all on points, all on tricks from Jared. Next up is Natalie. Natalie asks, what are some of the hidden gems in the U.S. that aren't Nashville or a national park? I'm not the outdoorsy type. That's my girl right there. Yeah.
So the United States is amazing. There's so many hidden gems. Not that this is maybe hidden, but my wife and I love Savannah, Georgia, Charleston, South Carolina, San Diego, Austin, New York, Washington, D.C. I mean, there are so many cities, you just got to find what are you interested in. Is it food? What is it?
San Diego. San Diego is great.
It is.
San Diego is so good. And Austin, too. Any deals? Don't mean to put you on the spot.
Yeah.
Any deals that you want to do? It's our tradition.
Yes, I got to bring it back. So Florida is super cheap right now. Minneapolis to Miami, nonstop round trip through November is $96. Nonstop round trip.
That's
insane.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So Orlando's $156, Sarasota $155. So Florida is super cheap, and it has been for the last several months. A great spot to find a cheap flight. Mexico, also another easy spot through spring break, April and May of next year. Cancun and Cozumel around $315 to $360. And yesterday, I just got to tell you guys, some of the deals we're seeing. St. Thomas, U.S. Virgin Islands was $142 yesterday on American with one stop. Round trip, $142, normally about $400 to $600. So there are cheap flights. It sounds like flights are getting more and more expensive, but there's still these little pockets if you know where to look.
Wow, great deals. Give it up. The return of Jared, our Thrifty Traveler. Head to thriftytraveler.com for more. Sign up. If you are going to be traveling a lot in the next year or two, get those alerts. We're going to take a break. We'll be back right after this. Back in a moment. Thank you, my friend. Well, you're back.
Okay. Yeah, but don't you be thinking that I'm gonna be calling you sir.
No, sir.
It's my boat.
Welcome back. It's been 27 years since we were first introduced to Forrest Gump in the Oscar-winning movie starring the one and only Tom Hanks. Welcome back to the show, everyone. Forrest Gump is one of the movies featured in the new season of the Netflix show, The Movies That Made Us. I talked about Pretty Woman, that episode earlier this week, and last night I watched two. I watched Back to the Future and I watched the one about Forrest Gump. And to say it was fascinating is an understatement. Look, and I loved, obviously, the Pretty Woman one, and the Back to the Future was great. This, my overarching feeling was, you had no idea, as just a watcher, as a viewer, as a lover of Forrest Gump, you had no idea, because of how successful it was immediately, that this movie was in process for 10 years. It's based on a book. It was in process for 10 years, kept going from studio to studio, and the script was literally in a box. And a Paramount studio executive found the script, I'm shortening the story, and fell in love with the concept. The book is quite different than the movie. I mean, in the book, he's a wrestler. He goes to the moon. There's a lot of differences from the book to the thing. Anyway, and then you learn, then Paramount found it, loved it, greenlit it, got Robert Zemeckis, who is the director from Back to the Future. So the studio knew they had a great director, and they had Tom Hanks. But what you didn't realize is the fact that they really lowballed the budget. They kept cutting money and cutting money and cutting money from this movie, and they were really riding Zemeckis hard. Oh, can't you cut? I mean, literally one of the conversations you learn in this documentary was, can't you cut out the Vietnam part? And can't you cut out the shrimp part?
The Vietnam part?
Yeah, and they said, no, we can't do it. So in one of those great Hollywood stories, you learn that Zemeckis and Hanks had a meeting, and they decided to go to the cheapies at Paramount and say, look, keep your salary. We just want a piece of the back end because we know this movie is going to be a hit. So cut our salary, use that money to give us the tools we need, and then we want a piece of the back end. And Paramount's like, sure. So then they did it, and then they were still hounding Zemeckis. They sent an executive on the set. They sent a representative to the set. Zemeckis saw the woman and was basically like, what are you doing here? A few colorful languages. But that woman ended up being an ally because the last cut they wanted to make, and can you imagine this? They wanted to cut the famous running scene at the end of the movie where Forrest runs around the country. Here's a little bit of that. Paramount didn't want that cut. So Zemeckis and Hanks and this executive created a shadow unit where they went behind Paramount's back did not tell the movie studio and shot at all of these locations. And what's fun about this is another fun element to the story. Some of these running shots of Forrest that you see of him across the country, not Tom Hanks. Tom's brother helped them out. And Tom Hanks's brother shot a lot of the running scenes. Paramount found out. By then it was too late. They approved it begrudgingly. And the last thing they wanted to cut was the music. If you think about Forrest Gump, it's really it's a catalog of American moments and American music. 30-some songs, and you can have a shallow base of knowledge about the way movies and TV shows are made, and you will still know the rights to songs are unbelievably expensive. So the director did the best thing possible. He scheduled a shoot for the bigwigs at Paramount. He goes, okay, but he put in all the music that he wanted to so that the movie would play for the bosses how it was supposed to, and the bosses fell in love and realized you can't have Forrest Gump without all this music, and they gave them all the money they needed to buy the rights to all 32 songs. Wow. Now, look, don't cry for these Paramount people, because the movie ended up making, I think it was $400 million or something like that, and the soundtrack became one of the best-selling soundtracks in history. So again, I love the stories where you discover executives don't always have the right answers. I love that. And this is another one of those.
There's so many quotes, I feel like, in Forrest Gump, more than almost any movie you know. Do they talk about that a lot? Like, was that all in the book? Was that something that the writers came up with?
A lot of it. It's a mix. I'm so glad you asked that. The last little fun fact is, you know the little boy who plays little Forrest? Tom Hanks couldn't land the voice. He didn't know what, the last thing for him to get was, what does Forrest sound like? And he couldn't do it. He just couldn't figure it out. Until he met the young man who was never an actor. He met the young man that played Little Forrest and listened to how he talked, and Tom based his whole performance on Little Forrest.
That kid.
Yeah, yeah, and that little kid is all grown up now. He's way more fun facts to be had. Watch it for yourself. You'll love it. It's called The Movies That Made Us. The new season is streaming right now on Netflix. As we go to break, a look back. This is one of my favorite trailers of all time. A look at the trailer for Forrest Gump. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
The world will never seem the same once you've seen it through the eyes of Forrest Gump.
My mom always said life was like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get.
That trailer gets you in the mood to watch Forrest Gump again. I know people, it's trendy to hate on that movie, but I don't care. I like Sap. I like it. I love that movie. Sally Field, anyway. Hey, don't forget you can watch full episodes of our show on YouTube. Just search for Jason Show on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. We post full episodes and clips of the show. You ready for today's Bubblegum Goodbye question? What was the worst job you ever had? The answer when we come back. Back in a moment. Welcome back, friends. Stay cool today, sincerely. It's got 800 degrees outside. Let's say goodbye to our audience, Marnie, Gina, and Becky. Becky, you wanted to know if we're excited for the new Sex and the City. Yes, yeah. And Becky, are you watching Dexter for the first time, I heard?
We're starting to, yes.
Oh,
with your recommendation.
Oh, I'm rewatching it. It's so funny. We started last night. You're going to love it. Again, Becky, Gina, Marnie, thank you guys so much, and have fun with the mug. It's time for our Bubblegum Goodbye question. What's the worst job you've ever had? Kendall?
I would say the hardest job I've ever had, all of them were in the food industry that were really hard, was at Stella's Fish Cafe in Uptown. I worked there in the summer, and it was so hot all the time. We'd work these like 15-hour shifts, and every time if you worked the roof, you had to run down the stairs and back upstairs to get food, drinks, whatever it was. If someone's like, I want chips, I'd be like, okay. It's just exhausting.
Yeah.
But
Mine was, depending on the day, but mine was probably, I worked at a sunglass place, a little kiosk in the middle of the mall, and I worked at Tommy Hilfiger Outlet, and I hated it because the manager yelled at me because of the way I folded, and I thought, this isn't for me. Like, if you're freaking out about folding, we're gonna have bigger problems. Yeah, so I shan't be working here. Yeah. Tomorrow on The Jason Show, Stephanie Hansen is back with ways to use up your zucchini. Thank goodness. Plus, Psychic Maria Shaw joins us live with more predictions. That's tomorrow. But right now, go out there and be yourself, because nobody can tell you you're doing it wrong. Have a great day. Thanks for watching. Stay cool. We'll see you tomorrow.